Well, I'm here at a hotel in San Diego where I've been thinking about the future of the construction industry. And one thing is clear. Lifetime use of carbon, energy and the rest is going to be a very important issue. Most people don't realize that up to 7% of the entire world's carbon emissions are caused by the use of concrete. And yet there are different kinds of concrete and modern variations, special polymers and the rest, which can reduce that energy consumption by up to 80%. And these e-concretes, which have been developed in Melbourne University over the last few years, look like being very exciting products for the future, although it's going to take the construction industry quite a long time to accept them widely for things that require long-term strength for obvious reasons. You don't want to build a bridge with an experimental product that could fall to bits 10, 15 or 20 years' time. Now, the other issue is not just the energy used in the elements of construction, but the lifetime of the building itself. Here, this beautiful hotel has been built relatively recently, but could easily have a life expectancy of 100, 150 years or more. And that's probably similar to many of the homes that you and I live in. Unless they're made of wood and poorly protected against termites and other things. If it's a brick building or a stone building, or a concrete building, then it's likely that it could live, it could have a lifetime of a great many years. The contrast could not be greater with large-scale commercial building. Whether we're talking about a shell, which is a factory inside, or a tall tower office block. Most office blocks have a life expectancy perhaps of 25 to 30 years. They are actually built to auto-destruct. The materials that are used, for instance, in holding the panes of glass in place in these tall structures are destined to fail after a relatively short time. The very nature of the building is designed to have a built-in redundancy. You just cannot imagine some of these great towers of glass and steel being around in 150 years' time. Future generations will look at them, they'll say they're not fit for purpose, they're not energy conscious enough, the spaces aren't convenient enough, and they'll pull them down. At least that has been, unfortunately, the history of commercial building over the last 100 years. And we've seen this built-in redundancy wasteful not only of materials but also of energy. Because up to 30% of the entire lifetime use of energy of a big commercial office block can be in its construction, and another 5 to 10% even in just its demolition and carting away all of those materials. So one of the most powerful ways that a builder can make their building more energy efficient is building a building that's designed to last an extra 5, 10 or even 15 years. There's no reason really why we shouldn't be building commercial buildings that are designed from the outset to be able to be refitted inside over a period of hundreds of years. Now that might seem fanciful, but I live in a house which is already 110 years old, made of brick. It's been recently underpinned to shore it up. That's true, but it will go on lasting now, I think, probably for another 5, 6, 7, 800 years, or maybe even 1,000 years. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with that building that couldn't be a useful dwelling for people in the future, unless they suddenly grow to being 11.5 foot tall or something like that. It should be absolutely fine. So these are fundamental questions. And there's this inconsistency between the design of personal dwellings, homes, and the commercial sector. I mean, who on earth would buy a home that was built to auto-destruct, that would have no capital value whatsoever other than the land it's built on within 25 to 30 years? Who on earth would take on a mortgage where perhaps the house has ceased to be able to be livable in a shorter time than the mortgage is due to be repaid? So that's the bizarre contrast, and we can expect to see a radical rethink about the fundamental expectations of commercial building in the future.